Hello again, new update, go over a couple things. Got our solar panels in. I want to say a big thank you to Santan Solar. Not sponsored, but they were very good customer service. Got the panels here quick, really cheap too. Pretty good shape. As you can see, here's I am up against them. They're pretty big. I mean, I knew the measurements, but wasn't really expecting the size of these things. That's about 400 or 4,350 watts right there, so it should be covered. The calculations are saying I ideally need somewhere around 2,500 to 2,700 for all the equipment I'm going to be running, so that should more than cover it. They're not bifacials, which is the new thing going on, which means the back side of them can also absorb light and add additional solar power for you. If you're building it yourself, I would probably go that route, but I got a really good deal on these, like just over $100 a piece from Santan, so can't beat that. Plus they were doing free shipping, and the shipping on these normally would have been about $700-800. One of them was slightly damaged on the frame, but Santan's going to go ahead and just refund me. The panel still works, so it's just visually damaged, so not a big deal. And it looks like the shipping company laid something really heavy on top of it, even though there's a sticker on the top that says please do not put anything on top, but they don't listen. So you knew we had the roof that needed to be plugged up, so let's go up there and take a peek at that. See if I can hold you on the ladder. Oddly enough, the next day it poured down rain, and suffice to say, no leaks. Unfortunately, did not have time to seal it up, and now I've got rust on some of the spots where I got rid of some of the paint to make sure there's a good mating surface underneath the metal. Everything's riveted in, shit ton of silicone underneath there. Make sure it's not going to leak ever. So probably this weekend's project is I'll be blowing all these leaves off here, and I'll probably sand down everything in between that's shiny to get a good rough surface. And then I'll do a primer on all of this, and then spray it down with some rubberized paint. And then the plan is the rest of the bus, we're going to have to clean the whole thing, probably pressure wash it, do some light sanding on the whole roof, and then we'll do some elastomeric paint there. Then she's going to be ready to do some unistrut and good old hockey pucks for mounts, which is what I've been seeing everybody doing, and I think it's going to work for me as well. By the time I have the height of the hockey pucks, which is about 1 inch, and then the 1 inch unistrut on top of that, I think it'll clear the peak of my roof just perfectly. So looking forward to doing that for sure. What else we got going on recently? Not really much else to talk about. Some of you guys were talking about asking questions about the homeschooling. I'm lucky enough that in Florida we have one of the best homeschooling programs out there. We've already talked about it with some other people that have done it from the schoolie swarm, and looks like it shouldn't really be too much of an issue with our time frame of about 3 to 4 years before we go out permanently in the bus. They should be a little more well adjusted in their earlier life. They're 5 now, so we're looking at having them spend some more time around other children, which we plan on going to a lot of schoolie events and stuff like that too, so there's a lot of children involved. So we're not really thinking they're going to miss out on too much. Some of the other questions you guys had is... I had a list here, now it's gone. There we go. Your other question was the whole RV conversion. So, been waiting on answering all those questions, and there's a lot of useful information out there. Quick Google search away. It depends on your state. Luckily, I'm in Florida, which is one of the easier states to do it in. Basically, I've already been in talks with my insurance company and even another insurance company just to compare the pricing. But the process really in Florida is you fill out an affidavit. You can Google it to get it. If I have time, I'll put it in the comments down below for you guys. But basically, it just asks you if you've installed 110 volt wiring, plumbing, or propane gas. And really, you only need one of those to be done for it to qualify. Usually, by the time you're doing that, you'll have all three. However, I've actually got a weird situation with my landlord switched home insurance companies, and they now, for whatever reason, require that the bus is registered, even though it's just sitting here. Don't know the reason for that because I don't know how it affects them or the insurance on the house, but it's what they want me to do, so what's we're going to do. It's actually is not too bad because now I'll be able to take it to the tire shop instead of having to take all the tires off and take them to them. And also I can take it to my buddy's paint booth and get her painted. Might also be doing it at my neighbor's house because he's got a lot of open space with no trees around, so I might just drive a couple blocks up the road and do that. So still up in the air there. That's probably going to be done. I really want to put it off, but it'll probably get done this year. We're going to be mounting the solar panels as well, hopefully in the next couple months. Just waiting on getting some more supplies for that. Anyways, back to the registration. So you fill out the affidavit, you go to your local DMV. I haven't done it yet, so I will update you guys once I've actually done the process. But talking to somebody else that's done it in my area, apparently Alachua County is a pain in the bahookie to deal with, and they want it to be weighed, which is not actually a mandatory thing as part of the process, but for some reason they won't let up and want it to be done. So I will probably go to one of the neighboring counties that does not have that rule in place and have it done. I will have solar panels installed with a temporary inverter, which will qualify me for the 110 volt conversion. So I've already talked to my insurance company. They'll put insurance on it. State Farm is wanting to do it as a commercial vehicle at first, and then as soon as I get the change, you're going to change over to an RV, which is literally half the cost. Allstate, though, talking to, I believe her name's Kelly, she was out at the schoolie swarm. She said they got no problem just going ahead and doing it as an RV as long as I go up there and register it and have the title transfer done to an RV at the same time. So take that as it may be. I'm getting a quote from her as well, just to see. I don't really have loyalties. I've been with my company for several years now, but if you save some money and you give me a little more straight answers on how to do this process, I'll probably go with you. But yep, you go up that to DMV. There's no inspection. They don't need it to be weighed. They don't even need to see it. You basically give them the affidavit, fill out a form for a request for the title and tag, pay in Florida, unfortunately, if you need a new tag, I think it's going to be somewhere around 500 and change to do that, which is like, good Lord. I think I have a spare tag in the system, so hopefully I can get around having to do that. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how that process goes once I do it. And so just to kind of get that out there, I work full-time for my company as work from home. One of the reasons I'm able to do this. Yes, the company is fully supportive of me. I actually approached them before buying the bus and going down this route that they were going to be okay with this. They were actually excited, and several of them have wanted to follow the process, which is actually the main reason I'm doing some of these videos, because they're actually genuinely interested in what's going on and how I'm going with this. Like I mentioned in the first video, we're even developing a schoolie nomad RV full-time living specific internet, because looking around at some of the options, you've got Starlink or T-Mobile home internet or the Verizon, AT&T mobile home internets, and they don't work everywhere. And if they do, you've got bandwidth issues occasionally or signaling issues. So we're trying to set up an entire pack that would use a device that grabs from all four major carriers, automatically switches to whichever one is best, has a built-in Wi-Fi system, supports external APs for those of you that need to put an antenna on the roof. And we're going to try to also pair it with a external antenna that has a 4x4 antenna configuration as well as a Wi-Fi antenna. So if you wanted to mount that up top, you could have external Wi-Fi plus an omnidirectional external antenna on the outside. So it should be a whole set it and forget it system. We're even thinking about possibly making it completely user-friendly to the point where you can fill out a form and we'll go ahead and pre-configure it with your desired Wi-Fi name and password. So that way it's literally just hook it up and that's it. Pay your bill and use your internet. That's coming. More on that once I have more details. We get a little more fleshed out. And one final thing is, I do work full time. I've got 4 kids, 2 stepchildren and 2 twin boys that are 5 years old, and my wife is now working again to try and make some extra money to cover some of the cost of getting this bus built out, and just to up our quality of life a little bit, have a few creature comforts, man, that the times are hard, for sure. The groceries have gone from $400 a month to $400 every 2 weeks. It's I feel for you people. I really do. I don't know how you guys are staying out there and making it work. I mean, everybody just goes to work, do what you need to do, go home, love your family, and do what you can. I mean, that's ultimately what I'm doing here. But with that said, the amount of time, I mean, sun's already starting to go down, and I'm doing this video because it's the only little bit of time I've got real quick to get out here. I don't really have time to edit. Maybe in the future, once the rat race slows down a little bit, I might edit stuff, but they're going to come to you raw just like this. I'm sorry, it's not going to be super good quality like some of the other YouTubers out there that take several hours to edit. I don't have a team. I don't have help. It's just me and my phone doing these when I have chance. So it's not going to be anything hidden. It's going to be the real deal. I'm going to try and do some videos of showing some of the stuff we're doing and how to do it. And try to get you, some behind the scenes and some tutorials and stuff as well. Definitely one thing to expect from this channel as far as this goes is a lot of highlights on technology. This will be the technology bus. If you didn't see by the solar panels, 4,000 plus watts of power. That's a lot of power for a schoolie. A lot of people usually go with somewhere around 2,000 or 3,000 watts, and we're over 4,000 watts. We'll also have a generator, Onan generator for a backup on that. But yeah, we expect to have a pretty good sized computer system, a camera system all around with a telescoping 360 camera on the roof. That when we get where we're going, it'll actually motorize lift up, and then the camera will be steerable and auto tracking and everything like that. I'll have cameras on all 4 corners of the bus, and I'm not talking those systems you get from Good Sam or RV World. This is true enterprise grade cameras, just because I'm in IT. I have access to this stuff. I know how it works, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm still trying to figure out a server situation here, and I'm hoping the price of some of these NVMe servers come down over the next few years, because what I would ideally love to is run Plex in the bus itself with maybe 100 to 150 terabytes of onboard storage. It's not a big deal if I can't, because I'll have several good friends that I can just relocate my entire server rack to that I've got now, and I'll just be streaming from them. But it'd be really nice to have onboard storage, so I don't have to depend on internet connection for TV and movie consumption, especially for my wife and kids. I'm gonna have to have internet connection for work, but it doesn't necessarily need to be anything extensive. I'm gonna be using their device, but if I'm out somewhere where it's only got 1 or 2 bars, it's enough to do emails and remote access in the computers, which really doesn't take much, to be honest. And meetings. As long as I got enough for that, that's great. But I'd love to have an onboard Plex server, and now that VMware has kind of done what they've done to market, probably switching the Proxmox or something like that. But being able to still have a little mobile lab would be great. So that's going to be interesting to figure out. I talked to someone that had a QNAP that was running containers in it, but I still want kind of like a full blown server experience. So if you got ideas on how I might be able to do that, or some cost effective ways to get some low power usage storage, but a lot of it, spinning disks is just not going to be where it's at. Let me know. Looking for ideas on that. So yeah, we're thinking of doing for the living room area. I've not seen anybody else do it, so it's really interesting why not. But we've got, this is quite a big open area, and I'm thinking of right in here. This is for the most part hollow. Mounting a roll down screen there and a short throw projector here in the dash that we can set up when we get where we're going, and pretty much this whole front area would become a screen, TV, probably 50-60 inches. And then that way it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. You just put the projector itself in a little cubby, and then the screen being recessed into this area here takes up no space at all there, and that's just hollow, unused space as it is. So an idea. If any of you guys have done that or seen anything like that, let me know, or what you guys think about that. My wife will probably have her PS5. That's her pride and joy. Or by the time we go out, it'll probably be the PS6. And a TV. My boys will have probably laptops. I imagine that's all they'll really need for school and entertainment. So not too big a deal there. Still trying to figure out what we're going to do for washer and dryer. Wife definitely does want a dishwasher. I think we've held on, they make a half width dishwasher. So we'll probably do that. And I'm hoping that the price of some of these heat pump washer dryer combos, I think like the Samsung AI combo or something that just came out, like they're struggling to keep up with production demand on it. They sold like 1,000 of them in several hours after release. So I'm hoping, that technology is just new now. Hopefully in the next 3 or 4 years, it'll be very common and the price will come down, because they're pretty expensive and they're pretty big. So hopefully that'll come down. But my plan is to use a heat pump combo unit. Just hoping the size eventually comes down, the price does as well. If not, I might have to revisit how we do that. I know a lot of you say use a laundromat, use or something like that, but with 4 people in the bus, I just don't see that as being real feasible, to be honest. So, yep, that's kind of the plan there. Fridge, apartment fridge. They're not going to use an RV fridge. There's not really a point. I'm going to have so much solar power. And like I discussed in the other video, we'll probably do about 300 amp hours of batteries and then add another 300 amp hours before we go out full time. So 600 amp hours should be enough to cover us. Plus we'll have a generator as a absolute emergency backup. So I'm not too worried about power in the long term. Instant hot water heater with propane. I'm going to do a propane stove as well. Uh, Honestly, I have a stove that is ran off of propane, and we just use the barbecue grill cylinders, and honestly, it lasts 3 to 4 months. With doing pizzas weekly, cooking on it daily. So honestly, just carrying two barbecue containers around to run the water heater and the stove is more than enough for us. Uh, it's not worth it to have to worry about wiring in an electric cooktop, which our solar could handle it, but then I got to get a sizably bigger inverter than what I plan to use. You know, you got to run extra heavy gauge cable and deal with that, and extra big breakers. I got to have 220, which I'm planning on having split phase 220 anyways with the inverter that we're using. I'm thinking of doing EG4's 6000 XP that just hit the market as well. It's a good little unit. Look it up if you're looking for an inverter, solar controller, and battery charger combo unit. It has everything in it: breakers, disconnect switch. It's pretty much a complete package unit. Honestly, if you got extra money to spend, I would definitely recommend Victron. But for what I want to do, I'm going to be way too in the hole on Victron equipment when I could get this device, and it just does everything. And from what I can tell, it's very reliable. And for an eighth of the price of what all the Victron stuff would cost me. So definitely going to go that route, I believe, unless something changes by the time I get it. But fun little another project I'm doing is, because I'm living in the house that I'm in, I do plan on doing the solar first. My progress is to go from the roof down, do everything up there. Next, we'll pull all this wiring and the ceiling grid down, and then put the wood up, which means I got to figure out my layout fairly soon, because I'm going to have to figure out where lights are going to have to go up there. But since I'm going to have the solar done first, 4,000 watts of solar just sitting here for 4 years, or 3 to 4 years, it's like, what a waste. Unfortunately, I can't do grid tie just because of my local power company and some of the rules and stuff that it's not going to really work for me. Plus the amount of money I'd have to spend to get a split phase grid tie inverter set up with Victron or EG4. It just doesn't work. So what I'm going to end up doing is, I do have a sub panel in the house that runs my server rack, my office, the RV that my stepdaughter stays in as a room, and my shop utilities and power for tools and lights and stuff like that are all ran off of this sub panel. So what I think I'm going to end up doing is running the inverter to power that sub panel, and then power the inverter off of a breaker, the breaker that's now feeding that sub panel. So therefore, the solar will supplement everything that's on that circuit, which will help to bring my utility costs down and help me save some money while we're on this project, and make the solar not completely useless while it's just sitting up there. So something I don't know if I've never seen anybody talk about or think about. Had a great idea, if you had a inverter that is grid tie capable, and I know some of you guys have a home base or a house, something I've not seen anybody think of, and have a plug on the outside of your house. When you come home and you park your RV or the bus in the yard, you have an external plug, you plug it in the house, and now you're feeding your house off of your bus's solar. So that way, you're keeping your electronics in the bus going, but your excess energy is now feeding your house while you're home. So something to think about. I've not seen anybody do that. If somebody has, hey, I'd love to hear your comments and experience of that. I think that way is going to be better, especially if you have a grid tie inverter. Like I said, I'm not going to, so got to do it the getaway I'm going to be doing it. But yeah, it'll help offset my utilities, which are pretty darn high because of where I live. Good old GRU, it's Gainesville rip-off opportunities, what I call them. but they're the highest electric rates in the entire state. So bad that the governor had to come in and take control of things because it was getting out of hand. Yeah, I never have a bill under. I think the lowest bill I may see in a year is probably in the winter, and it's probably going to be $350, $400. Um, and we have a very economical heat pump for the whole house, so it's not even like it's a heating bill that's doing that because we're electric. No, they're just really expensive. And I average out to the energy that I use for the whole year. It's about 4,000 watts of power a day is my consumption. So it really doesn't make sense that they charge so damn much for their utilities. But hey, what can you do? It's where I live. It's what I pay. 10 miles down the road, I could be on Clay Electric for half the price, but then I got to pay higher rent. So kind of is what it is. Well, with that said, I think I've done enough talking head for you guys here today. Definitely updated you guys on a lot of the processes that are coming up, what's happened, what's going to happen. And I think I've made this video longer than I would have liked to originally. So if you stuck out through the end, I appreciate it. Give it a like, subscribe. We got more videos coming. I know this is normally a technology channel, so some of you guys that have subscribed and now you're getting these bus videos, I'm sorry. I don't feel like setting up another channel. And like I said, this bus is going to be full of technology. So I'll probably be doing reviews on the inverters and whatever server hardware I go with, the cameras, and tutorials and walkthroughs of how I end up setting all this up. So it should be a fun adventure. Should be unique. I'll try and keep it interesting as best as I can. And hope you guys follow us along the way. If you liked it, you know what to do. If you didn't, well, you know what to do too. Not that you can see it anymore, but hey, it counts somewhere. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.